Hello and welcome to One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer. And I do want to remind you to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, contact us through One Card, One Cub, One Beer at gmail.com. You can subscribe to our page by clicking on the icon at the bottom right corner. Those of you who are on Mac or PC or on an Android device, if you're on a streaming device, please go to your computer, find us, subscribe to us. When you subscribe to us, you will know first thing when our crap comes online. And isn't that what you want to know? Is our crap firsthand? Of course you do. You can support us through Patreon. Go to Patreon, search patreon.com, search One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer. And you can see there are 3 levels of support. The division winner, which is $3 a month, you get some stickers with that. The pennant winner is $5 a month. I think you get a coffee mug and some stickers. And then if you do the World Series champion at $10 a month, and that's what most of you spend, just on, I don't know, probably toenail polish on a monthly basis, then you'll really help us out. We do appreciate it. If you notice that my voice has finally changed, I'm very proud. Puberty hit at the age of 56, and just actually,
he's a man.
Yeah, I've had about a COVID. It started Sunday, and I'm pretty much symptom free, except for my voice is very low and I get tired. So if I fall asleep, just wake me up and I'll keep going. And if I have a coughing fit, I will try to mute myself. And if I do start coughing, you need to get out of the way because those germs can come right at you. This COVID thing's pretty nasty. So, JJ, how are you? Are you physically good?
I've been hanging tough. I know a lot of stuff's going on with all the pollen and springtime's here. The only fever I got is baseball fever, baby. That's right. Yeah. Saturday, we got to see you. Did you get to see your Cubs play Saturday, Vince?
Oh, yeah. I've seen my Cubs play all the time. The only day I missed was Sunday because I was too sick to watch them. Every other day, I'm gonna watch. So,
yeah. Vince is the MVP of this show. I mean, there's only 2 of us, so I'm a second runner-up, but he's not feeling well, and still yet he came out. He did he's doing it for you guys out there. So thanks, Vince. MVP.
Because I love you all. I love you all.
Well, with springtime starting, I worked midnights, and I got home about 9 o'clock Saturday, and I set my alarm for 11:50 and got up and watched the game. And I'm telling you what, we had Saturday's game on TV and Sunday, and then they played Monday, and there was no telecast. I was at work anyway, and then we had a day off today. So right now the Cardinals are 3-1. These games don't mean anything. I mean, if you lose every game, you'd like to win one occasionally, so the team doesn't forget how to win. But they really don't mean anything. But the Cardinals are 3-1, and that's kind of a byproduct of what's been going on. I've seen some, Vince, first of all, the rules. We talked about the rules last week. And so far, I love the bigger bags. I love the bigger bags. I like the no shift. The clock, it may take me a while to get used to. It seems like the game's a little forced. I've seen a couple of pitchers that kind of realized what time it was and hurried their pitch. It was a ball outside. The ones I saw some, there's a famous game, of course, you probably heard about the Braves and I think the Red Sox 3-2, bases loaded, bottom of the 9th, and it was a hitter's violation. A hitter's violation. Vince, I'll get used to it. It just takes me a while. I'm so old. I'm an old timer, and I'm just used to the old ways. I can see a few things that could pop up, but I think the umpires have a little leeway there too. Yespis, I believe, got a ball up and in at his head, and he went back and he stepped back about 3 steps and then kind of collected himself, and they didn't start the clock immediately. They let him kind of regain himself and get back up there. So that's pretty cool that they I think they have a little leap, but they're calling it pretty much strict by the rules, and I kind of like that.
Well, as far as the bases go, the first game, the announcers made the analogy, they look like pizza boxes out there.
Yeah.
After that, I haven't even noticed the bases.
Me neither.
So that doesn't bother me. I like that the pitch timer has kept the game moving. And I heard a statistic that for the first month when they tried this in the minor leagues, they averaged like a violation and a half per game. And then after that period of adjustment, it went down to like a half a violation every 2 games. So it almost became a non-factor. I do like that it keeps the game moving. And one of the things that I saw today when I was watching the Cub games is that the average spring training game last year was, I think, 3 hours and 5 minutes, and this year it's down to 2:34, something like that, something ridiculously low.
That's what I around that I heard too. Yeah.
So that's really good. I like that. And concerning the shift, I saw some hits up the middle that I haven't seen would be hits the last couple of years. And I saw a couple of ground balls that went through the right side by left-handed hitters that wouldn't have been hits the last few years. Saying out to say this, it looks like baseball again. When a ball goes up the middle, gets past the pitcher, my thought is it's a hit unless it's a great play. I'm either going to see hit or a great play. You know, I'm not seeing some guy just standing on second base picking the ball up of a sharp ground ball up the middle. When they're hitting the sharp ground balls to the right side, that should be a hit or a great play. And there's not someone just standing out there in right field, throwing it to first. It has the look of a baseball game. It has the feel of a traditional baseball game. And I think when players do adjust, it's
it'll be smooth.
Going to be stuck in nature. So I haven't had a problem with any of the rules, and what I've seen so far has been really, really good.
Oh, it's been fun, and like you said, the game moves, and for your novice fan, the person that just kind of peeks in every once in a while, it's more action. You see more hitting. It's more time in between pitch. I mean, less time in between pitches, and I'll get used to it. It just took. The first game I saw, it looked a little hurried to me, but it was fun. It was still it's baseball, so I'm excited about that. Well, with spring training going, I almost said preseason, getting over football there. I got to hear Chip Carey and Brad Thompson on the TV side, and they make a great team. Chip is classy. He calls the game. He picks up the little things. Brad, I think they reined him in a little bit because he's a real funny guy. And he still got off some zingers and stuff, and it was fun. But I really, really enjoyed that. And then I think it was Monday, I got to listen to Rooney and Ricky Horton do the games on KMOX. And I've always enjoyed them too. I mean, I miss Mike Shannon and Jack Buck, but we're in good hands as Cardinal fans getting the games called. It's going to be a fun year listening to those guys and having a good time with them. Well, in St. Louis, there's a lot of competitions for positions. Contreras is the catcher, and it was nice seeing him out there in the Cardinal uniform, and he looks like he fits right in. But the backup catcher position is up for grabs. You got Kisner and Herrera, and both of them's done fine. I look for Kisner to win that spot. Herrera is younger, and Kisner just has a little more experience in the big leagues, but we'll see. Maybe Herrera beats him out. At second base, you got Brandon Donovan and Gorman, and Gorman has worked on his defense. I can tell he's looking really good out there, but I'm telling you what, Donovan, he's hit 2 home runs, one in the first game and one in the third game, and he's looking dynamite, taking some really good at bats. There's room for both of them. Gorman can be a DH. He's hitting it looks like his swing is a little flatter this year too. So that's fun. DeYoung is trying to earn a spot, and he's had a hit. And of course, Tommy Edman. And a lot of these guys will be going away here real soon to get ready for the World Baseball Classic. Of course, you got Goldschmidt and Arenado, and they look mid-season form. But in the outfield, there's a big battle for a lot of positions. O'Neill's moved to center and is working out there and looks pretty darn good. And he looks good. I like him in left field a little bit better. But Dylan Carlson's moved to right, and maybe he can just concentrate on playing right. He's got a great arm and hitting, because last year when he moved to center, his hitting suffered. And then of course Lars Newbar. But then out there you also have Gomez, the kid that hit about 38 home runs in the minors last year, and I think led the minor leagues in home runs, looking great at the bat, really taking great at bats. But I seen a ball in right field. He turned the wrong way and turned and ran and had to make like a dazzling catch. It's spring training. Everybody's working on that. Burleson's been out there, Yespis. So we have a lot of outfielders. And there's some kid. What's great is there's kids I've never even heard of. We got to see Jordan Walker and Marcel Wynn, but there's a kid at short named Robinson that had been in our minors, went to the Braves last year, played for them a little, and came back this year. He wears a red headband. Really, I won't say cocky, but man, he's doesn't have a lack of confidence, and he's made some great plays at shortstop, and he takes charge out there. I've seen teams where everybody's waiting for somebody else to call somebody off. He's out there screaming, hollering, get out of the way, get out of the way. I got it. I like that. Just a few other things. Let's see. New rules, the Chip Carey, Horton. That's about it on that front. And like I said, the Cardinals are 3-1, and they only had 5 hits the first game, but man, they come alive in the second game. We were helped by Florida, because I'm telling you what, them guys, they better get that fielding up to par, because they made about 5 errors in that second game. So we'll take what we can get, but we got a lot of help in that game. And we got to beat the Mets. I'm sorry for your cousin there. I know he's a Met guy, but we did beat the Mets. So yay, we beat the Mets.
I did not know that mental illness was in our family to that degree that we had a Mets fan.
But we can get him help. There's help available. We'll get him some help.
Lobotomy or something. I don't know.
Some medicine. Oh, Lordy. Well, I tell you what, the Cardinals announced they always have the fans get to vote for this Red Jacket Club. It's sort of like the Cardinals Hall of Fame. And we have a lot of guys. We have 5 guys that are up for it, and usually 2 get elected out of the 5. And this year it's Edgar Renteria, and I could go over his stats if you like. We also have 3 pitchers. There's Matt Morris. Oh, David Freese. It's David Freese and Edgar Renteria are the 2 hitters, and the 3 pitchers are Matt Morris, Joaquin Andujar, and Steve Carlton. And I think Steve Carlton's been on the ballot like 6 years. I don't know why Steve Carlton ain't on there.
Younger fans vote, and they don't remember Steve Carlton.
I know. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, David Freese is going to be voted in, even though he's not. He had a great World Series, but he was a very average player who had trouble being a starter for Pittsburgh. But he'll get voted in, and I think Matt Morris will get voted in too, because Morris deserves to be in. One of the most underrated pitchers that I saw in the 90s. Just a wonderful pitcher. But Carlton, I think with our generation, we remember Carlton as a Cardinal, but you and I are like pushing 35 years old. These younger people,
yeah, all those under 30, I was looking at their statistics, and if I was voting, and this is me personally, who I'd vote for, I'd put Steve Carlton and Matt Morris. Of those 5, those are the 2 I would vote for.
I would agree.
I went over their statistics, and I know people get kind of they get whited out when we talk about statistics a lot, but he played 7 years with the Cardinals, and he was in 2 World Series, 67 and 68. He played from 65 to 71 with the Cardinals. And for me, that was like the worst trade we ever made. That was over a little bit of money. And we lost Steve Carlton, and he could have been the heir apparent to Bob Gibson. And in some ways, he was even a better pitcher in some ways than Bob. He had a long career, and don't get me wrong. Now I'm going to hate mail saying that. It's like you can't say nothing about Bob Gibson in Cardinal land. I love Bob Gibson, but Steve Carlton was an incredible pitcher as well. But he went 77 and 62 in his years here in St. Louis, and we went to 2 World Series. A 3.10 ERA, 66 complete games. That's just remarkable. He's 8th all time in Cardinal history in strikeouts. So in that short amount of time, he just surely did make an impact. And I love old Lefty. He was a great one. And he kicked our butts. I met him one time at a card show, and my grandfather used to sit in a recliner and watch the Cardinals. And when Carlton was pitching, he'd slam that chair down and walk off. He'd get so mad. I told him, I told Carlton that. I said, "Oh, you made my grandpa furious." My grandpa was an old World War II Marine. And he said, "Well, I beat you guys 5 times in 1 year." He remembered that. He stuck it to us. And he killed us for a long, long time. But anyway, he had 5 seasons averaging 32 starts and 237 innings with the Cardinals. That's just mind-boggling in today's game, especially. You think about that. That's a workhorse right there. And then, like you were saying, Matt Morris played with us from 97 to 05. And those weren't 04 we went to the World Series.
Yeah.
But he won 101 games. And in Cardinal history, that's really good, 101 wins. I mean, with all the years and all the players, he was 101 and 62 with a 3.61 ERA. And, that's also the steroid era he was pitching in.
Yes, it was.
So that's amazing statistics for the steroid era. 18 complete games, 8 shutouts, pitched over 1,300 innings for the Cardinals. And he is 7th all time in Cardinal strikeouts. And if you look at some of the statistics of guys over the years with the Cardinals, he's up there in a lot of categories. And I love old Matt Morris. He was kind of to me, one of the faces of the team back in those days. And the final bit of Cardinal baseball I have is, Vince, every month I go up to the card show at Orlando Gardens, right up there off of Rivas Barracks. And it's this weekend, Sunday. I'll be there, of course. And these are the people there this weekend. There's a Cardinal connection there. I know you said years ago you were a Kansas City Royals fan. Well, Amos Otis is going to be there.
Oh.
Yeah, old Amos Otis. Yeah. Jack Clark and a Cardinal favorite, Tom Niedenfuhr. Those 2 friends. I'm going to see if I can get a picture of him throwing his glove down or something.
He actually is coming to a St. Louis card show.
He's coming to a card show.
I automatically have to like the guy.
Yeah.
If he say, okay, yeah, this would be kind of fun to do.
For $15, you can get him to sign a card. That's cool. I have a Jack Clark. A matter of fact, I loved Jack Clark when he was with the Giants. That's where I fell in love with Jack Clark. I would watch what was it? This Week in Baseball. Remember that show?
Oh, yeah.
I love that show with Mel Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they had that music in there and all that. They would switch from teams to teams. And back then, me and Vince didn't get to watch all the teams like today. So it was unique to see these players and hear about their teams and everything. But Jack Clark, Jack the Ripper, and he was just killing it in San Francisco, and they became a major force. And again, I don't know how the heck we got Jack Clark, but man, those were some great years with him. And I got a couple things for him to sign, among the Giants thing and a couple Cardinal things as well. So Vince, that's it in Cardinal land. I went a little long there, but man, I'm excited. It's baseball time.
Well, in the world of Cub news, I'm going to start with injuries because one of them is a big one. Seiya Suzuki was pulled from the opening spring game, and he had tightness. And turns out he has a oblique strain, and he's going to miss the World Baseball Classic. And this is an injury that can be tricky. So Will he be ready in 3 weeks? Maybe. Will he be ready in 10 weeks? Maybe. It's very tough to gauge how well an oblique strain or how quick that they are going to recover. This is called a moderate oblique strain, so it's not a mild one, so they know it is a little bit more serious. So as a precautionary, it's all right, just don't go to the World Baseball Classic. This could take some time, so he out. Um, and he, we'll see how this progresses if he'll make it to opening day. And then not to be outdone, pitcher Jordan Holloway, he decided he would get him a oblique strain too. So strangely, we have two players with an oblique strain. Who really cares at Jordan Holloway? Oh, I shouldn't say that. That's terrible.
Your first guy you mentioned, Suzuki, I like that. I like watching him play.
Yeah, he showed up about
player.
20 pounds heavier. He hit the weights this year, trying to add more pop. And I think this year, after a year of getting acclimated to the MLB game, that he's going to become the star that we thought he was going to be. He showed flashes of it last year. And I'm not just saying this, and I'm not the kind of person who ever sits around and says, "Oh, the umps cheated us. The umps cheated us." Umps are against the guy. That just grates on me. That's an excuse. Everybody has good calls. Everybody has bad calls. Whatever. It seemed weird last year, and I'm not the only one who noticed this. Even Cubs announcers have said this. It seemed like every close pitch, the fans' grass would show would be out, they would call him a strike. And so he got to where he expanded a strike zone because he was getting all these bad calls and getting sent to the dugout with his bat on his shoulder. He's got a tremendous eye. So when he started getting strikes called that were outside the zone, he started swinging at them and it screwed him up. Kind of straightened out at the end of the year and finished strong. So I'm hoping that he's back by opening day. If not, there's no rush at the beginning of the season. Let's just make sure he's healthy and he can get in there. Our other injury is Patrick Wisdom's been scratched from his spring training start. He has a mild groin strain, and he'll just rest until he's ready to go. And I have been fortunate to see, we had a split squad game and I didn't watch one game. Max had us like one game on one computer, one game on another, watching both games at the same time. I didn't do that because I was watching from bed. But anyway, so I've seen all the games except for the Sunday game where I was just too sick to watch in one of the split squad games. So I've seen 4 of the 6. And what I'll tell you what has impressed me so far, David Bodie, who's a non-roster invitee, has just come out killing the ball. And, now that he doesn't have a 5-year, $15 million contract, he seems to be motivated to make this team and to be good. We'll see if it lasts, but I was not expecting David Bodie to show up and kind of turn my head. Cody Bellinger has looked really good. He took a Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray's a left-hander. Bellinger's a left-hander. He took a high fastball on the outer portion and just creamed it to left field for a double today. I mean, it was MVP Cody Bellinger type hitting.
Look out.
That will like, wow, I'm impressed with that. We're all looking at Matt Mervis during spring training and what I've seen of him. He hasn't responded with a home run or anything. He's had some walks. He's had some really good at bats, and I've been very happy to see that. And I've been also keeping an eye on Kevin Alcantara, who is not going to make this team. He's going to start probably at high A this year. I think he's 20 years old. He's the one that Max referred to last week. His nickname is the Jaguar. He is 6'6", and he is just pure athlete. And I've liked what I've seen. He lost the ball in the sun. I think it was yesterday, but it's Arizona, and everybody loses balls in the sun in the Cactus League, so that didn't worry me so much. but I got to see Ben Brown pitch, and this is the pitcher that we got in the David Robertson trade with the Phillies. This guy, you need to watch him.
Okay.
Next time he pitches, or look him up on YouTube. He's also 6'6". He has
Wow.
a 12-6 curveball. I feel like I am watching a young Adam Wainwright. I am amazed. His fastball, he doesn't have the control of the fastball that Wainwright has at this time, of course, because he's very young. But the curveball is like unreal. It's like it falls from the sky. And he's not going to make the team out of spring training. He may get a call up, do an emergency start or something like they did with Caleb Killian last year. But man, I'm excited about this. I cannot believe the Phillies gave us him for David Robertson. But hey, so I'm going to do this all through spring training. It's called the fifth starter report because we know who the four starters are going to be for the Cubs, barring
okay.
injury.
I like
And there's a competition for the fifth starter, and Ross has even said it's between Hayden Wesneski, Javier Assad, and Adrian Sampson. I went on the record last week and said it's Sampson's to lose, and let's get real, Assad's really not in the race. Okay, so they've each had one outing in spring training. Sampson came in first game as the second pitcher, and Wesneski and Assad both had starts. Okay, and I'm rating them right now. Number 3 so far in the race is Adrian Sampson, the one who iced it.
There's still time.
He's pitched 1 2/3 innings. He's given up 3 hits, 4 runs. All 4 of the runs are earned. 1 walk, 1 strikeout, and 3 home runs. So,
man, that's rough.
Number 2,
okay,
and
it's me and you.
2 and 1, I could flip a coin.
Okay,
but I'm putting Assad at number 2, and I'll tell you why. Assad pitched 2 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. Beautiful. Perfect. I'm putting Wesneski at the lead right now. Wesneski pitched today 2 innings. He did give up a hit, no runs. He had 1 walk. He had 4 strikeouts. The reason I am liking Wesneski because Wesneski actually had to pitch out of a jam.
Okay.
And he did a great job pitching out of the jam against the Mariners today, who had mostly their starters in when he pitched that. So the fifth starter report, first week of spring training, I have Sampson at number 3, Assad at number 2, and Wesneski at number 1. And I will keep up with the stats. And every week you'll get to see, and we'll see at the end who wins this thing.
I like that.
Assad is pitching for Mexico in the World Baseball Classic, so I will follow his progress there, and the other 2 I'll follow their progress in spring training. So that's about it for Cub news.
Wesneski, that's a good Chicago name. That sounds like a Chicago guy's name. I don't know, for some reason. Yeah.
His slider is wicked.
Ooh,
and
man.
he made, I think it was 5 starts last year and really impressed me. But it's been a long time. There's been a winner, and I was like, okay, I want to see him to see why I liked him so much, or if that was just a flash in the pan. No, his stuff really does play on the major league level. So I was thinking Wesneski may be someone that they are going to just start in the minors so he can get his starts in and keep on a regular rotation. Not going to put him in the bullpen. But now I'm thinking, with Hendricks coming back sometime in May, if that stays on the trajectory it's at, You got Assad and Wisniewski, who are both young. Sampson, who's a veteran, who has pitched well the last 2 years, that could be a late spring training trade piece for us to pick up something that we need.
Oh,
So,
definitely.
so there we are.
That's what I'm thinking about the Cardinals too. We have so many young players, and we can't keep them all. I'm thinking, and the guys who aren't doing good, nobody's going to offer you anything for them. But if they come out of the chutes looking good, maybe we can, get something we need anyway. With some of these players. Yeah, sounds good, man.
Yeah, we could, if Suzuki is going to be out at the beginning of the season for a few weeks, maybe you guys could use Adrian Sampson and we'll take that Jordan Walker guy off your hands. Something like that.
I Friday. Oh, I probably won't. We won't do that. You might have to throw in something else on that deal.
Oh, come on. I'm a general manager. I'm a good general manager.
That would be a great deal for you. That would be a great deal for you. I watched MLB did a preview of, they do 2 teams a day, and they did the Cardinals Friday, and they were walking in the practice fields, and a ball went flying over the fence and went and hit that building behind the fence at Jupiter. And the last person that hit that building in batting practice was Mark McGuire. And they were like, who the heck hit that? And Miles Michaelis came running up and said, Jordan Walker. That's all he said, Jordan Walker. And so that kid's got incredible power. He had a home run.
Do you really need to have someone on the team that's going to lose baseballs like that? No. Get rid of the bum.
I'm telling you, baseball's a crazy game, but man, that kid looks like he's 20 years old too, Vince. 20 years old. Yeah. So all you baseball fans out there who collect cards, that might be a good investment, getting your Jordan Walker cards, because they're about to start climbing up real high right there.
There you go.
Did you get to see that Crow Armstrong kid? Did you get to see him play any?
Yeah, I've seen him play. He flew out to left. He's left-hander.
Okay.
He flew out to left, deep left on it was kind of an outside breaking ball, but he flew out pretty deep. If you look at him, he looks like a 20-year-old kid. He doesn't, he's not filled out yet. So the power that he generates is just natural. So when he fills out, he's going to hit some opposite field home runs.
He looks like, I've seen highlight film of him. He looks like a ball player, man. That kid looks like he's special.
Defensively, he's a Gold Glover now. When you look at the plays he's made, it's like, wow, incredible. He did have a game the other day where there was a deep fly ball in center, and he kind of got to the fence, and the ball, his glove, the fence met at the same time, and it popped out. But he was also looking into the Arizona sun. So
right. Hey.
If you watch Cactus League games, the sun is always an issue. You see great players lose the ball in the sun. That's why there's in Arizona they keep the stadium closed a lot, because there's not a cloud in the sky. You got that high sky, and it's very difficult to find the baseball. So that doesn't bother me so much. But yeah, I'm looking at him more as a curiosity, I guess, like Alcantara, because I know he's not starting, in the major leagues this year. Brennan Davis, who's looking for an outfield spot, and if Suzuki's out at the beginning of the year, he certainly has an inside track there. He's looked pretty good in spring training so far in the few times I've seen him, which is good, because with his, this guy was our top prospect last year, one of the top 5 prospects in minor league baseball 2 years ago. And with his back messed up last year and the surgery and everything, and then coming back and just playing terrible, and then getting shut down again this winter, he's come out. He's looked like he's looked pretty good. So hopefully that will be a success story. All right. We are going to spend the next 3 weeks looking at our rivals, not each other, but our other rivals.
Yes.
The teams that don't matter in the National League Central. And we're going to start with the Milwaukee Brewers. Going go ahead and JJ, give me your thoughts on that beer swilling bunch of losers from playing in Wrigley North. Let's hear about it.
I have nothing but good memories mostly from the Brewers. You got Chicago so close to Milwaukee, it seems like both fan bases travel back and forth, and I think that's a more fierce rivalry than we have with them. Of course, if we had lost Game 7 of the World Series in '82, maybe I'd feel a little different. They've had some great players. I was a big Suso Cooper fan, and I love Bob Uecker. I really don't have
Yeah,
any.
Molitor,
Oh yeah. Oh my
Simmons,
gosh.
Vukovic.
Book, Fingers, Prince Fielder, Jonathan LaCroix. They've had some good players over the years. I've really
Richie Sexton,
Teddy Higuera. I really like. I thought he was going to be like Fernando Venezuela.
Fernando Vina.
Fernando Vina. Well, we got
Yeah.
Vina and Matheny both from Milwaukee, I believe. Yeah, so we've got a good connection with them. Well, I tell you what, every preview book I see, they rate them as winning the division or at worst finishing second. And I tell you what, Vince, I've been going over the stats and their roster, except for their starting pitching. I don't know. They're going to have to catch some lightning bottles in a few spots because I don't know. I don't know if they can hit with the Cubs or the Cardinals, to be honest with you, but that's why we play the games. On paper right now, they're going to have players that have been down years come through. They're going to have some rookies really come out and be a big contributors to the team. That starting pitching, I'm very jealous of. That's some shutdown starting pitching they have. And at the end of the bullpen is really strong. But I think they've got a lot of positions in the middle of that bullpen to fill. And that's man, with the way pitchers go today, 6 innings maybe, that's a big part of your team right there is that middle relief. And that can make or break a team right there. But I'll start out with their catcher. They got William Contreras from Atlanta. Of course, that's Wilson's brother. And he actually out-hit Wilson last year. He hit 278. And so far, career-wise, he's only played a few years. He's a 260 hitter. He did hit 20 home runs in Atlanta. He's been on a world championship team. And I think that's a good young player for the Brewers for years to come. He looks like he's going to be a good player. The only thing I saw, Vince, that's a kind of a thing that as a Cardinal fan, I like, he's not really good at throwing out runners. He's only gets 14% of would-be runners thrown out. Now, that's not fair to blame that all on the catcher. That's a lot of the pitcher holding the guy on, but this year they can't, like you said, they can't hold him too long. So last year he only got 6 out of 26, and Wilson Contreras got 31%. So I just kind of show you what a good catcher does. The 31%.
Didn't William play a lot of DH for Atlanta last year?
Oh yeah, he can hit. He's a good
Yeah,
hitter.
he wasn't their full-time catcher.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the Brewers do have Jesse Winker. I wonder if he and Contreras are going to split time DHing. I'm not trying to sound mean. I don't see him being a catcher for a championship team. There's too many defensive deficiencies.
He's 25. That's the one thing you could say, well, maybe he hasn't, but in your catching years, except for, Carlton Fisk and Jim Sundberg and Yachty, catchers don't last real long. And you're probably getting to your prime catching years around 25. So maybe we are seeing what we're going to see with him. But you're right. His defensive ability doesn't scare me a whole lot, but the guy can hit. The guy can.
Oh, he's a great hitter.
They'll find if he hits, they're going to put him in there somewhere. The Brewers have been known. I always liken them to a beer softball team. They put these big old lumbersome guys in different positions, and they just shoot for the moon. And speaking of that, at first base, they projected is Rowdy Tellez. And I tell you what, I went to 2 Brewer games last year, and Tellez killed us. I thought this guy's a monster. Well, Vince, I was looking at his stats. He only hit 214 last year. He hit 214, but he did hit 35 home runs. So he is a power hitter, but it's feast or famine with Rowdy. I like the guy. He's always got a smile on his face. He swings for the fences. But a 214 hitter don't scare me too much, you know.
Yeah, the other day we were playing Milwaukee in a game, and I'm trying to think who was pitching for us. Was one of our starters. It was Drew Smiley, left-hander,
I like this.
and Tellez is a left-hander, and first or second pitch, Tellez took him about 450 feet. So yeah, it's feast or famine. When it's a feast, man, it goes a long way.
I think he's a free swinger. He's going to get 3 good swings on you. You know, good luck. But hopefully he doesn't have a lot of speed. He'll hit a ball a mile high. Just try to keep it in the ballpark, and you got him. But I'll be honest, Vince. I think looking at this lineup, I tell you what, the Pirates might catch the Brewers this year. Their pitching's going to have to be incredible this year. I really think. Of course, we'll play this tape back after they win the World Series, and I'll look like a moron, you know. But well, they made 2 moves, and I was going down the lineup, but they made 2 moves late in the offseason, and they brought in Luke Voigt. And Luke Voigt's a guy who I think he was with there was a time he was with the Yankees, and they thought he was going to be the next Roger Maris. He was just cranking home runs. And then I think he was filling in for some hurt players, and then they really didn't have a spot for him, and he slowed down. He's played for several teams, and it seems like every year he's with a new team. So Luke Voigt's over there, so he might be a DH too. He's either a first baseman or DH. But again, he's like a beer softball guy. He'll just swing for the fences, and he'll connect some. And then I couldn't believe they got Brian Anderson from Florida Marlins. And Brian is a very good third baseman, but the last 2 years he's been battling injuries. But I think he's a very good player. That's a good pickup for them. If he's even similar to his, what he usually does, he's a very good player. So I was going to talk about second base now. They had a rookie they were going to play there with Brian Anderson coming aboard. They're probably going to move Luis Urias from third over to second base. And I think that's more his natural position anyway. So I think that was a good move. Urias, he's only 25 years old. The Brewers, that's the story with this team. They're a very, very young team. He only hit, that sounds so negative. He hit 239 last year. Like I could hit anything. But 239, you like to see your now I'll be a second baseman. You'd like to see them hit. I don't know. What do you like, Vince? What, like 260? You'd like to at least get a 260 average out of your second baseman.
When I look at positions, I don't so much look at batting average. I look at more what I want with an OPS.
Yeah.
And from a second base position, 730 up, I can live with. And from an offensive point of view, this year's second base is going to be so important defensively.
You're right.
Which is, I think, why the Brian Anderson trade was so important, because you can't put Urias at second and have Adames at short and have a decent up the middle. Before that, to have a rookie at second base, I don't know. And Urias, he falls more in line with what I would think an offense for a second baseman should be. He certainly wasn't the offense that a third baseman should be. So I could live with that.
And he's a good fielder. He is a good fielder, and that's what he's there for. He did hit. These guys do hit home runs. He hit 16 home runs last year.
Yeah, they go for the downs, as they used to say.
Man, I know. You better hit your spots when you're pitching against these guys, because
it's like when they got Willie Adames from the Rays, he didn't hit much home runs for the Rays when he got there. They turned him loose, tried to kill the ball, and suddenly he's a home run hitter.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, and he's going to be the shortstop this year. 27 years old, right? And it's getting in his prime. 238 hitter, a good shortstop. Um, let's see. Vince, I'm old school. There's the on base percentage, and then there's OPS, right? I get those two confused. Um, but he had 31 home runs last year, but he strikes out a lot.
Yeah.
These guys, strikeouts to walks. He was a negative 157, and
He's
that's a rally killer. That's a rally. But man, put the bat on the ball. I mean, if you're gonna live by the home run, you're gonna die by the home run too. But them
see
strikeouts.
when someone has stats like this, the pitching coach has an easy job. You tell the pitcher, throw your best stuff off the plate, let him chase. If you're up 6 runs, go ahead and try to pitch to him. That's when he's going to hit his home runs. He'll run into his home. Yeah, that's when I would let him run into his home runs. If we got a big lead, go ahead and pitch to him. Whatever. But if the game is close, nothing's going over the plate. He's going to swing at it anyway. I mean, you have to have some control with your out of the strike zone. You can't just throw it a foot outside. But yeah, that's why a lot of these players have such terrible batting averages and high strikeout rates. Is because they're free swingers, and
The home run hitters make the big bucks, and their launch angles and all that. But I truly think those strikeouts will tear you up, in the long run. A team that I think makes more contact, runs the bases, and plays, and of course defense. And that's the thing, you balance. You want the glove out there, or do you want the bat out there? And some guys are both, but few and far between. Usually you got guys you take out in the seventh inning and you put the defensive guy in there. I remember Paul Blair used to come in the games all the time in the seventh inning, and he would man center field, and nothing got past that guy. So yeah, but they seem to go with the bats, or the power. They go with the power a little bit more. And with that pitching staff, man, if they had a good defense, I'm telling you what, it'd be tough. Their infield also, you got Brian Anderson at third base, and he's coming off of 2 injury plagued years, but they said this year he's his injuries, he's over them, and he's looking like his old self. We'll see. I like Brian Anderson. I always, when I watched the Marlin games, I thought, oh man, he's going to be a cornerstone to that team for years to come, because they've got a lot of good players over in Florida that look like they could be something special, especially that pitching staff and Cooper at first. I really like that team, but he's over here with the Brewers now, and that's a great pickup for them. Overall, though, that infield's young and experienced, strike out a lot. Just I think an okay infield, but nothing I'm that would scare me or anything like that. Their outfield, though, I kind of like their outfield. They've got a kid out there, Tyrone Taylor. I believe that's my son Brody's favorite Brewer. When we go out there, he always says, I like the way that guy plays. He hit 233 last year. He got 17 home runs. He's a good fielder, 51 strikeouts, and his walks to strikeouts, I always look at that, was a negative 80. And that's a little above average for today's ball player, especially a big outfielder, but he's a good defensive player too. And seems like every time the Brewers stuck it to us, he was involved in on base or moving a runner over or something. I really like him. They have a kid in center field. I wrote things so small on here. He is a rookie. I believe his name is Garrett Mitchell. And he's been at AAA for the last couple of years. He only played 28 games last year, so it's a small sample size, but he's getting a chance to play center field this year. And then, of course, Christian Yelich. And I think almost every team's got a guy like a Christian Yelich, a player that they're hoping kind of finds his old form and can come through. We have Tyler O'Neill, who 2-time Gold Glover. One year he was like, a big part of our core players, and he always seems to get hurt. And I know you guys have Bellinger, who, if he comes to any kind of MVP level, he's going to set your team on fire. Well, Yelich is that guy, but the last 3 years, I don't know if he's dealing with injuries or
Yeah, he's got a back issue.
oh, he's got a
And
back issue. And two, in
yeah,
baseball, they figure you out. You always have to make adjustments. Maybe they found something out or something how to pitch him, but you said he's dealing with the back issues. He is their big money guy. They did invest because the Brewers don't spend a whole terribly amount of money, and Yelich is the guy with the big contract. Nice guy. I pull for him. I hope he does good, except against our teams, because he's that there for. I mean, it was like 3 years. He was outstanding.
yeah,
Got an MVP in there. Um, anyway, last year, you think of him being a 310 hitter. He only hit 252. And his power numbers have went down. He's only hit 14 home runs last year and was a negative 74 to walks to strikeouts. He was always a guy that made contact, but I see him striking out more and more as well. So hopefully a bounce back year for him. But he definitely is the big piece in that lineup. And then we were talking about DHs, and Jesse Winker looks like he's probably going to be the DH. Now, Jesse didn't have a very good year last year. He had injuries as well, was out quite a bit last year. But 2 years ago, when he was with the Reds, I thought the Reds was crazy to get rid of him. And they sent him up to Seattle because I tell you what, he's a really good player. So if he comes back, he may play some outfield. They sound like they got a lot of guys who can DH. And Winker could be one of the big stars on that team. And he's only 28 years old. He's still a very young player. So,
well, what you said is true. The Reds are crazy.
Yes, they are. I'm glad they are. They should be much better than they are, but it seems like they just get going.
Excuse me.
Oh, no problem. Sorry about that. But they always seem to get rid of their stars. And I know the Cubs have probably benefited some and us too over the years. But yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. Maybe they got a master plan we don't know about. But I tell you what, to be honest with you, there's about 3 or 4 players in that lineup. If you can keep them off base, I'm not that. I look at their defense. I think it's just average. And I look at their batting, and I think it's just average, to be honest with you. How do you feel about their lineup?
Yeah, it doesn't scare me, and I do think that their lineup was stronger than ours last year. That kind of shows you how anemic our lineup was last year with the retooled lineup. I like what we have to offer more than what they have to offer. But of course, there's the two it factors. Number one, Craig Counsell's a great manager.
Yes, he is.
And he seems to push the right buttons. He doesn't do anything. I don't watch a game that the Brewers play that. Why did he make that move? He's very logical, sensible. You can't perform for the players. All a manager can do is plug the right players in at the right time and hope they come through. And he seems to he makes the right moves. The other big X factor is they crank out pitching like a machine.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, their minor leagues is great. You want to start talking about their pitch? I'm telling you, Corbin Burns, I've seen him pitch twice live. That guy, it's a pleasure going to the ballpark and watching that guy pitch. But for the life of me, before we get talking about him too much, he went to arbitration this year and they got into it over $700,000, which in baseball today is not terribly, I mean, with the amount they make, isn't terribly a lot. And you would think you would want to keep your starting pitcher happy instead of telling him, well, we didn't make the playoffs because you kind of faded down the stretch. I don't know. And I think this is the last year on his contract. I don't know what
Yeah,
they're thinking.
I think Milwaukee, they're not going to bring him back. They're not going to sign a pitcher to a contract, to a long-term contract, pay him a lot of money. They'll get outbid by a lot of teams. So he wasn't coming back. If just to keep him in the proper frame of mind for this year, pony up to 700,000 and let him pitch and see if you guys can make the playoffs. What they did is they pissed him off, because the way arbitration worked, and this is why most teams and players do not want to go to arbitration, because when you go there, the team is going to tell you, they're going to pick you apart and tell you everything that you did, the reason why you don't deserve the amount of money you're asking for, the 700,000. So they're going to tell you, okay, yeah, you say you're one of the best pitchers in baseball. What happened in August and the beginning of September when you lost 4 in a row and we fell out of the playoffs? That puts it on his back, you know. So it's a very humiliating situation for a player, even a superstar like Corbin Burnes, to go through, because the arbitrator is not a baseball person. They're there. The player presents their side. The team presents their side, and the arbitrator decides. You win, you lose. You know, they don't have any skin in the game or anything. They're not going to say, well, this is Corbin Burnes. He's one of the greatest. He just needs the 700,000. All we're hearing is both sides saying, I like the side that the team's saying, yeah, I like their argument better. So there you go. So it's a terrible situation that is, and it may affect him mentally this year, and he may not pitch as good. Who knows? But let's say he does pitch good. They have after him Brandon Woodruff. They have Freddie Peralta. They have Eric Lauer. Their 5th starter is Wade Miley. And waiting in the wings, even though he's been waiting in the wings for about 3 years now, is they're so high on Aaron Ashby. He's the son of Adam of
Alan?
Is it Alan Ashby? Yeah. And when I watch him, I've watched him pitch against Cubs a few times. He's got nasty stuff for a couple innings, and then he falls apart. Last year, he was 2-10 with a 4.44 ERA. He has a 1.43 WHIP. Okay, I don't care how good your stuff is in the bullpen and how great it looks when you're pitching in college and the minors. When you get to the majors, if you can't cut the mustard, you're not going to stay. And Aaron Ashby, I think, may be on his, hey, prove it this year that you're a viable pitcher. So that's the reason why they signed Wade Miley, is not that they need a more veteran presence, because they have Burnes, they have Woodruff, they have Peralta, but they didn't trust Aaron Ashby to become a viable starter. So the starting pitching is potentially tremendous.
Oh yeah.
The bullpen, I think I agree with you. They got rid of Hader last year, and they put Devin Williams in that role. He did have 15 saves. It took him an adjustment period to get used to being a closer. But they don't have what I would consider a really strong candidate for a setup person. Excuse me. So I do see that if your starter is going to give you 5 or 6 innings, have you got enough to make it to the 9th inning to get that bridge? And like I said, it's the Brewers. They tend to find pitching where it doesn't exist. They are really good at cranking out pitching, except for Ashby. They seem to hit on a lot of pitchers. So I kind of see the Brewers as a team that can be like anywhere from a 72 win team to maybe an 86 win team. There's a lot of leeway in there. And as far as being a serious contender, I don't think with the balanced schedule this year that they're even a wild card contender. I don't think 86 will make a wild card. I think you're going to have to win this division, and I think it's going to take 90, 91 wins to win the division. I don't see the Brewers doing it. The only team in the division I see doing it is the Cardinals.
Well, I've been looking at your roster, ours and theirs, and I don't think I think they're a third place team. I really do. There's a couple names, Matt Bush too in the bullpen, but he's a 39-year-old reliever
Yeah, he's an
now.
old man.
He's getting old, and he was a very good pitcher, but at 39, we'll see. They just have so many ifs, ands, and buts. Can these young guys come up to the level they hope they can? Can the older players maintain that level, playing guys that sometimes have never played that particular position in the big leagues, going pitching heavy, and that pitching's going to be great. But I think if you can stay with them, and we'll see what their bullpen holds. But they're going to have to catch lightning in a bottle. And maybe I'm wrong. But I tell you what, I was surprised after looking at the stats of I was expecting a little more out of that team, and I was like, wow. So maybe they got some surprises we don't know about. But I'm with you. I think they're a third place team, and I don't think they're a 500 team. I think they're 78, 79, right in there, somewhere in there. So
It wouldn't surprise me. Like I said, I could see them going into the low 70s. I could see them hitting the mid 80s if everything falls right. I just don't see this team as being the class of the division. And let's be honest, it's the weakest division in baseball.
it is.
And so, yeah,
They've got about four guys. If any of them get injured, they're in trouble because I
yeah,
don't think they have any backups. And I tell you what, if they're way out of it and aren't signing Corbin Burns next year, you may see him go at the trading deadline to a contender and pick up some big prospects. That's what I would do if you're not going to sign him anyway and you're out of it.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they'll do. They may be a team that even if they're in it, and for heaven's sakes, 1 year they were a playoff team and they fired their manager in September when they were in the playoffs, heading for the playoffs. Remember that?
That I do not remember. I don't.
Yeah.
But last year they were in the punt and they got rid of Hader right in the middle of it. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, thank you. That's very nice of you to do that. We'll take it. Yeah, they fell flat after that.
Well, so neither of us are really high on the Brewers, but wait till next week when we talk about the Reds, and then we'll finish us off with the Pirates. JJ is going to show us some of his memorabilia.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Let me reach over here. I got stuff all over the table. Well, Vince, I got three different things I'm going to show. I won't take terribly long. I just love the game. Patches and things are a big part of the game, the history of it. And I don't know if you remember this, but 1976 is the bicentennial year. And in some ways, it was the 100-year anniversary of baseball. They didn't play professionally yet.
Yeah.
But they wore this on their uniforms, the 100th anniversary of baseball. It was right around the bicentennial. It was 76. And that also was the logo for baseball back then.
Yeah.
So I love that. I found that and I thought, I got to have that. This emblem of the Cardinals, of course, I'm Cardinals heavy on all this stuff. In the 80s, when Ted Simmons was on the team, there was a time when on batting helmets, we had this Cardinal with a bat on it, and they wore this patch on their uniforms for a small time. But there is the Cardinal emblem that they used to wear on their uniforms. And I kind of like that Badland Cardinal right there. That's pretty cool. Back then, we had a lot of young folks may not know this, but the Arizona Cardinals at one time were the St. Louis Cardinals. We had the Cardinal baseball and Cardinal football, and they played in the same stadium, So there was a lot of cool Cardinal emblems and things like that back then.
You want to hear something weird?
Go ahead, please. Yes.
My father's side of the family, they're all, Cubs fans, Bears fans, Bulls fans, Fighting Illini. When it came to football, for some reason, the Bears thing never transferred to me. So I was a Cub fan in baseball, and I was a Big Red, which the St. Louis Football Cardinals were known as in football. Basketball, I really didn't care. Didn't care about basketball so much until, the Bird Johnson,
Yes, that
Lakers
cute.
Celtics stuff. Then I got
Oh,
into it. Um, the Fighting Illini I think did transfer to me, but for some reason I was never a Bears fan. I was always a Big Red fan. And the reason I became a Chiefs fan was not because they won the Super Bowl the last few years. The reason I became a Chiefs fan is because in 1988 I moved to Kansas City, which was the first year that the Cardinals moved out to Arizona, and I thought I'm not supporting the football Cardinals. They left our city, so I started rooting for the Chiefs. So
hey, I'm with you. Uh, I respect the Chief. The Chief fans remind me of the Cub fans. They are loyal. That's a tough division. A few years ago, our division was tough in baseball, but in the AFC, the Chiefs have a very tough division, and there's some years we're just okay. But that fan base is very loyal, and that's a great history of a football team there. I'm with you, Vince. I was a football Cardinal fan. I love them just as much as the baseball team, and I got to go to one game a year, and I usually would see Cardinals and Redskins or Cardinals and Cowboys because we hated the Cowboys, and they usually kicked our butts. Ed Too Tall Jones and Harvey Martin and Randy White, all those guys, they just beat the snot out of us. But man, and the Cardinals, the baseball and the football team used to do things together. Like I remember Bake McBride was rookie of the year. I think it was 74. And that's the year the football Cardinals were good. And Bake was Bake and Terry Metcalf of the Cardinals numbers were the same. And it showed them in the locker room and they both had their jerseys and their number on. So I thought that
oh,
was kind of
cool.
cool. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Nowadays, patches they commemorate things. I've got a Adrian Beltran patch when he retired, and it had all the things he did on it because I believe he's going to be a Hall of Famer next year when he's up for the Hall of Fame. But this one is the final Busch Stadium patch. It marks the years. They have stickers. They wore this on their uniforms. It was the final season of Busch Stadium, and I'll miss that place. A lot of great memories. 82 World Series, Bob Force's no hitter, just some really good times there at Old Busch Stadium. So that's a neat commemorative thing. Also, when Stan passed away, they wore a patch on their uniform, and I just bought it and keep it. But it's number 6, Stan Musial. I'd like to get all the ones of the retired players. Anyway, they wore that on their uniform, and Stan is such an icon in St. Louis. He's our Ernie Banks, Stan is. So never a harsh word ever said against him. No one ever said anything bad. He was nothing but class and great for baseball and the greatest Cardinal of them all. And then I have some World Series patches. Let me put these in order. Every World Series sort of has a style, the programs, and even the ball has a commemorative thing on it. So here's the 40s when we won the World Series. There's 42 right there. You can see the Cardinals a little thinner. It's got the year and the Cardinal on it right there.
Yeah, we all gain weight as we get older.
Oh, I've always been fat, Vince. 44. That was the Browns and the Cardinals right there. I like the little shield, like a Captain America shield right there at the
Yeah.
bottom. 46. That was the style of the team back then. Right at the end of World War II, just ended. 1964, one of my favorite Cardinal years of all time, right there. So anyway, that was that great comeback against the Phillies, and we beat the dominating Yankees in the World Series. And then 67, that's the old Bob Gibson year, and that's the old Cardinal right there in front of Old Busch Stadium right there, that World Series. So these World Series ones you can buy. There's a store at Busch Stadium. You can get them. I go to the card show, and there's collectors up there, and sometimes they'll throw a deal in there. If you buy this, I'll throw that in for $5 or something like that. That's a great thing about going to the card show. You can wheel and deal. They can only say no. And
Yeah.
I've had some great things thrown in at the last minute, but you just talk baseball with these guys. One time I went up there in a Phillies hat. I switch hats every day. I got a different hat on every day. And the guy goes, "Oh, you like the Phillies? Come here, I want to show you something." And they'll show you all their Phillies stuff, and we'll just talk baseball. And that's pretty cool. All right. The next thing I was going to show is let's see. Vince, this kind of makes me sad. This part of baseball is going away. I talked to a collector who's a big St. Louis Blues fan, and they said the Blues are no longer putting out programs, yearbooks, or pocket schedules. And a lot of people like me collect those because there's just a certain style to it. You can go back and look over the season. But they said you can get everything digitally now, and that's just kind of going away. They're saving money. But I tell you what, so far the Cardinals haven't got rid of their pocket schedules. Every time I go to a ballpark, I get a pocket schedule. I have every Cardinal pocket schedule from 1967 to 2022. And
Wow.
you can I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. But you can see the style change over the years. This is 1967. That's kind of what it looked like, you know. And if you turn it on the back, it'll say brought to you by Harry Carey and Jack Buck. And there's a little advertisement on the back. And even the advertisements are pretty cool. It's usually for Budweiser or Busch, being the Cardinals, you know. But then when Technicolor became a thing in the 60s, all the pocket schedules and the scorecards and everything copied that. Here we are in 1968, and you can kind of see it's like this kind of style, and you'll see this continues through the 70s. Here's 75, and they started like showing, instead of just having a guy in a Cardinal outfit doing something baseball related. This is 75. You can see it's Lou Brock. He's in there. He's sliding there, and he's running. Of course, that's the year after Lou stole over 100 bases, you know, and set the record, which was, of course, later broken by Ricky Henderson.
Yeah.
But you can just see the Technicolor pictures through the 70s. Here's 78, you know, and of course, Busch beer on the back. So that goes hand in hand. I have that all the way through the 70s. 1981, you can still see they were doing that. Different companies put out pocket schedules. 82, the year we won the World Series. Bob Forsch is on the front, and they've got several players. And of course, Budweiser on the back. Yeah. One beer, one Cardinal, one beer, and one Cub over there. Then it kind of started changing. After we won the World Series, they put the some World Series trinkets on the little pocket schedule, you know. And when you open these things, I just assumed everybody had seen these, but it goes through the whole season, you know, the blue being the away games and the red being the home games. It tells you the time of day, everything. I just love these little pocket schedules, and people usually just toss them away. 99 pocket schedule. It was the year after McGuire hit all the home runs, him and Sosa. So they had like some McGuire memorabilia on there. And if you come through the 2000s, they always seem to mark a player. And of course, in 2002, you got Albert on there after he won the Rookie of the Year. 2003, Scotty Rowland, who just went into the Hall of Fame as a Cardinal. So that's pretty cool. 2004, we just talked about him today. Matt Morris is the featured player on all the programs and scorecards. We won the World Series in 06, and it's got like a team picture of a celebration there. And then Bank of America is on the back of that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I've only got 3 more here I'm going to show real quick, but Yachty was on the front of a lot of featured Cardinals, and this is 2020. I kind of like that style. Yachty taking his mask off right there. A lot of teams during the pandemic did not put out pocket schedules. I went out to Texas and they didn't have pocket schedules. I went to Kansas City. They said, well, we didn't know when the season was going to start. We didn't know, so they didn't print anything like that, because I go up to their office and I get a bunch of that kind of stuff when I'm out there. 2001, we got Nolan Arenado right there, future Hall of Famer on the front. And the last one I'm going to show you, last year, you know, it was pretty much the Waino and Yachty year. So everything featured Waino and Yachty. Of course, they made these before Albert came back to St. Louis, because I'm sure if he was on the team from the year before, he would have been featured on all that stuff too. So those are just score pocket schedules. You can get these, I mean, all the way back to the probably 80 for $1 to $3 a piece. They're not much. They're nice keepsakes. I have a lot of memorabilia in these China closets, and I put them on the bottom. I got some AstroTurf Busch Stadium. I got the pocket schedules out, and people, we just take them out and look at them, kind of remember the times. It's kind of like a time machine, really, looking back through all that stuff. And I collect pictures too. Right here, I'm gonna when I put my table up and show stuff. Ted Williams is my all-time favorite player. I know he's a Boston Red Sox, but I love Ted Williams. And there he is with Babe Ruth, and Babe was playing in an old timers game, and you can just tell that's Ted before he went off to World War II. He's real lean there, and so I'm thinking that's somewhere around 41 probably. But that's a great picture of two great players right there, Ruth and Ted Williams, two of the greats. So anyway, I got that there. But the other thing I was going to show you, one quick thing. In 1989, the Hall of Fame, well, really, baseball put out postcards. And I love these postcards. And they're kind of a drawing. And I've had a lot of these when I get a chance autographed. And the first one I'm going to show you is Enos Slaughter, which is my favorite Cardinal. Right there. There's old Enos right there. Sliding, of course, the mad dash. And then there he is standing majestically in his old wool Cardinal uniform. That's pretty cool. And the backs look like that. So that's pretty cool. I've got Lou Brock, and that one's actually autographed. Now, if you ever wanted anything signed by Lou, he would sign anything. What a gentleman. Great guy. Of course, they got him running right down there at the bottom. And these are fantastic. And as a Cub fan, you could get Billy Williams, Ron, I don't know. They were out before Santo was in the Hall of Fame. Ernie Banks, of course. Your man, Fergie. Yeah, Fergie. I also have the big cat, Johnny Mize. Before McGuire, he was the only guy we had that led the league in home runs. And Johnny Mize, very good player, underrated too. The big cat right there, and he signed it right there too. So I'm pretty proud of that. And then the other one I showed a couple weeks ago, but I got big old Willie Stargell. I'm a fan of the postcards. It kind of just shows off. And 64, they put out these big ones. And I actually have a few signed. I'll just show the big ones. But here's Warren Spahn. I got to meet him. Warren Spahn was in the Battle of the Bulge, one of the most bloodiest American fights of all time. He was there. I just admire the man, the winningest left-hander in baseball history. I believe it was 363 wins. And he didn't like his picture taken. But my grandpa was a Marine, and for my grandpa, he took a picture with me. So that was pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
Warren Spahn. Al Kaline, he signed that. Al Kaline actually got up and shook my hand and sort of bowed or something. I thought, man, Al, you're a nice guy. You don't have to get up for me. I'm nobody. So that's pretty cool. Al Kaline, one of the youngest guys ever to win the batting title. And of course, Mr. Brooks Robinson. I absolutely love that piece right there. So anyway, if you want one of these, like I got these for $5. Dick Groat on the 64 World Champions. A lot of these you can go out and get. And then if you ever get a chance to meet the player, like this weekend, Jack Clark, Todd Nienfjord, and Amos Otis, you can get those signed. So just kind of keep track. There's so much neat stuff. I recommend y'all just come up and window shopping at that card show. I have no vested. Phil Brooks will be there, the guy who was on our show before. Yeah. And that guy will show you everything. He always says, I got a deal for you. He always gets me to buy one more thing before I leave. So, he knows me real well. But Vince, that's basically it for the hobby corner this time around.
Okay. What are you opening up?
2019. I bought the whole box of these suckers, so we're going to be riding 2019 for a while. The Aaron Judge, Babe Ruth on the front cover right there.
Okay, I'm going to do the 89 tops.
Oh, yeah, 89 tops. You might get a King Griffey Jr. in there.
We'll
Heck
see.
yeah. Oh, man. All right, let me turn these all around the same way. Oh, this guy here, seems like the longer he plays, the better he gets. JD Martinez. Yeah, Boston Red Sox player right there. All right. Matt Davidson. There he is. I don't know who he is, but good for him. Matt Davidson right there.
He made a baseball card. That's all that matters.
Okay, I'm going to need help with pronunciation. I'm terrible with pronunciation. Scott Schwebler. I went to a Reds game and they had a bobblehead of him one time, and I gave it to my wife's sister's family are all Cincinnati Reds fans.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know. We don't talk about it in public, but I got a bobblehead of him and I gave it to one of the kids. Mitch Garver from the Twins. There he is. I like that photograph too.
Oh, that's sharp looking. Yeah,
he's about to hit that ball a mile right there. Yeah. I'm telling you what, we got oh man, this guy's good. As he gets older, he gets better and better. Kevin Gausman. He's become a very good pitcher. Very good. Chase Anderson of Milwaukee. Right there. Another very good Milwaukee pitcher. Oh, they honored an old timer at it says Grapefruit League Legends, Pedro Martinez.
Nah.
I always collected Pedro Martinez stuff. I just loved his way he pitched, But now when I think of Pedro, I think of Don Zimmer making a mad dash at him. Remember that? Oh, that was crazy. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was almost like the NWO was invading. What the heck's going on here?
I felt bad for Pedro about it because what could he do? 80-year-old man's charging you, just kind of get out of the way and, kind of put your hands on him and he falls down.
He laid him. And then the Yankees get mad and they're all pointing at their heads and stuff. It was just crazy. It was just a crazy game. Let's see. National Adam Eaton. I always liked Adam Eaton. I thought he was, he's really good, like fourth outfielder or, somebody can platoon. I always like this guy. There he is, Adam Eaton. I'll stretch it out there right there. Over the years, the pictures have gotten better and better. They've really, the photography. Pittsburgh Pirate, I honestly don't know much about this guy, Felipe Vasquez, right there. Don't know much about him. Oh, yeah. This is the guy that comes out to Narco. He was with Seattle at the time, but Edwin Diaz.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. He's a perennial all-star now. Jake Odorizzi. He was a guy a lot of Cardinal fans wanted us to go get. A solid pitcher. I wouldn't give up. Oh, go ahead.
He's from Highland, Illinois.
I did not know. Look at that. Vince, man, all this. Who needs the back of the card? We got Vince Opper right here. Oh, and last but not least, and we're hoping the Cardinals are hoping for a bounce. Every team's got guys we want to have a bounce back year. Jack Flaherty, who had one heck of a half a year. We're hoping he can catch fire again because I tell you what, he's got the stuff to do it. I'm pulling for him. He's in the last year of his contract. It looked like he wasn't going to resign with us, but now there's talk like he might. We'll see.
Yeah.
So that's my pack right there.
As I open the cards.
Ooh, the suspense is killing me.
And I love that we still have the gum.
Oh, the gum. I read that they stopped putting gum in there in like 91, I think it was. Last year they put gum in there.
It was not a good. The first thing you did was stick the gum in your mouth and you start chewing it, hoping that it didn't cut the insides of your mouth up because it had those sharp edges. But
We
Oh,
had dangerous kids. We had those pudding pop things you open up, you can cut your tongue on that,
oh yeah.
Doritos. Oh yeah, all that stuff.
Pull tabs from soda cans, and then we just put the tab in.
Oh
Just
yeah.
what an
We were
idiot.
dangerous, man.
Oh, we've had him on the show. Not well. I wish we could get him on the show.
Maybe.
We've had his card on the show. Matt Williams,
Oh man, well, I was a big fan. Big fan.
and decent career, really good career when he was with the Indians. Willie Upshaw,
Yeah. Solid player.
and this is a record breaker, 1988 record breaker. It is Wade Boggs, who had
Oh,
his sixth straight 200 hit season.
he always ate chicken for good luck.
Oh, here's a man who had two careers. He was a decent pitcher before surgery. After surgery, he was even better. And he was so good, they named the surgery after him, Mr. Tommy John.
Tommy John.
Pitched
I
until
heard
he
his
was 83 years old, by the way.
wow. He had a bobblehead where the arm bobbled
Oh, really?
instead of the head.
Cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
Former Giant, former Pirate, Don Robinson,
Oh, yeah.
pitcher.
Nice career.
Oh, I have this guy. And yeah, remember when I showed you I took the baseball cards, all these all stars, and I made a clock out of it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's on it.
He's on my clock. Ozzie Smith, this card's on my
Ozzie.
clock.
Yes.
Oh, and this is a guy who I'm so glad he turned his life around. But man, he could have been so much more, Mr. Darryl Strawberry.
I know. He was a
And
force.
let me ask you something. What is better than one strawberry? Two strawberries. I have another Darryl Strawberry.
Wow.
How did this happen?
I don't know.
Because this is the home run leader card. Okay, so that's why I got two Darryl Strawberries. Okay. Former catcher for the Mariners, Dave Valley.
Oh, yeah. He's a analyst on MLB channel now.
Yeah, he is. Former Astro outfielder, Kevin Bass.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks more like a smallmouth bass. Oh, former Oriole pitcher, Jay Tibbs.
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
Yeah. Oh, we just talked about him a few weeks ago. Benito Santiago.
Oh, he can
Once
throw
had a-
people out from his knees. He'd
Yeah,
lay
30
down.
game hitting streak as a rookie.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was fast for a catcher too, running.
And former catcher for my cousin Mark's favorite team, Barry Lions. Yeah.
Yeah, take that, Mark.
I can't believe he actually said that on our show.
Yeah,
Gosh.
he came out of the closet.
Damn. That's right. Now I always liked Rick Cerrone because once when Steinbrenner was chewing out the team, he yacked back at him, and Steinbrenner said, "I'm the one who pays the lights around here, so shut up." But hey, at least someone tried to talk back to him.
Yeah,
And
I didn't know that.
Former pitcher from the Expos, former All-Star, Bryn Smith.
Oh yeah.
Did he pitch for the Cardinals?
Yes, he did, and
Yeah.
he's very good friends because the Expos. He's good friends with Giddy Lee.
Geddy Lee, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Giddy, who is as thin as a rail, came to spring training one year, and they gave him a Cardinal outfit, and he was trying to chase down fly balls. Now he's a great singer, writer, bass player. He cannot play he couldn't play baseball, but he's a big fan. If you ever get a chance, he's got some of the best memorabilia. He's got balls signed by Hornus Wagner, and you wouldn't believe his collection, but it's something else.
Yeah, at the first Cubs first Cactus League game, the first game of the Cactus League season, they set a record. They had over 16,000 fans there. Eddie Vedder was at the first spring training game, and I love these celebrities who are baseball nuts. And there's a picture. I don't know if you've ever seen it on the internet. It is Eddie Vedder and Johnny Ramone playing strap baseball in a hotel room. It's so
Really?
cool. Yeah.
It makes me proud.
Yeah.
We have, of course, we used to have Lou Rawls show up all the time, but Chuck Berry was a Cardinal fan, so we You had Eddie Vedder, we had Chuck Berry, and I forgot how this guy. Oh, Geddy Lee, yeah, Geddy Lee.
Yeah.
Well, I think he loves the Cubs too. I just think he likes baseball. He was an Expo fan. Yeah.
Well, JJ, we've
Oh,
made it through. If you get any symptoms through this, let me know.
all right.
Any of our listeners, if I've given you COVID, I'm sorry. I should have masked up before, now, but I guess I will now that I'm thinking about it. So there you go.
Get better. And by the way, great shirt, man.
Yes. Remind me of the lady's name who made this.
Well, I have a coworker, Kim Grimes, who's
Thank you, Kim. I appreciate it. Max appreciates it. Max hasn't got his yet.
Yes, and I'm glad y'all have it. I'll wear mine sometime too. I usually show it in the back or something like that. But Kim got her sister-in-law who makes shirts to make that for us, and so I love it, man. Very cool.
I will wash it before I wear it out in public to get the COVID off, by the way. So, all right. Well, JJ, we will see you next week.
Sounds good.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Get better.
I will.